Before this story begins, let me ask you something. If you were walking home on a cold December night, and you found a wallet full of money on the ground, what would you honestly do? Would you keep it because life is hard? Or would you try to return it, even if your family had nothing? Be honest with me. Tell me your answer in the comments, because this story will reveal what kind of heart you truly have. It happened to a young boy who had every reason to choose the easy way, but instead, he proved that kindness still exists, even when no one is watching. It was a freezing winter evening. The streets were glowing with Christmas lights. Everyone smiling, shopping, celebrating the season. But for this boy, Christmas didn't feel like Christmas at all. His faded green hoodie couldn't stop the cold. His shoes had holes. And at home, there was no heater, no tree, and barely enough food for one simple meal. He walked slowly, wishing life could just be different for once. Then something caught his eye. A bright red shape half buried in the snow. He bent down, brushed it off, and his eyes widened. It was a red leather wallet. Thick, heavy, expensive. The kind you only see rich people carry. He opened it with shaking hands, and inside was more money than he had ever seen in his entire life. For a moment, he froze. He imagined warm food, a small Christmas tree, maybe even a little gift for his mother. Maybe this was a miracle. But then he heard his mother's voice inside his heart. Son, you never take what doesn't belong to you. He swallowed hard. Life had been unfair. They had nothing. And yet, he knew she was right. He looked again inside the wallet and found an ID card. A man dressed as Santa, smiling warmly. It belonged to the mall Santa he had seen earlier that day. The boy stood there, torn between need and honesty, between comfort and character. He turned around, ready to go home with the wallet in his pocket. But halfway there, he stopped. Something wouldn't let him walk through that door. He took a deep breath, tightened his grip on the wallet, and turned back toward the mall, choosing the right thing, the harder thing. What he didn't know was that the man who owned that wallet, a billionaire dressed as Santa, was watching him the entire time, and the boy's decision was about to change his entire Christmas forever. As the boy held the wallet in his hands, his heart began to beat faster. For a moment, he imagined everything he could buy: a warm coat, shoes without holes, maybe even a small Christmas gift for his mother. Just one time, he wished life could feel easy. He looked around. The street was quiet, snow falling like tiny feathers. No one would know. No one would ever see. But then, he heard his mother's voice in his head. Son, we don't take what isn't ours. Even when we have nothing, kindness is who we are. He swallowed hard. But we have nothing, he whispered to himself. No food, no tree, no Christmas. The boy opened the wallet slowly. Inside were crisp bills, more than he had ever seen in his life. And then, an ID card, a name, a face, a clue to the owner. The boy took a deep breath, closed the wallet, and turned around. He decided to return it. But what he didn't know was this. The owner of that wallet, the man dressed as Santa, was standing not far behind him, watching every choice the boy made. And what happens next will change the boy's entire Christmas. And so, the boy made his choice. He held the wallet tightly and started running through the cold night, not toward the shop windows, not toward home, but toward the address on the ID. Every step felt heavier than the last. His mind kept whispering, "Your family has nothing. This money could change everything." But another voice, the voice that sounded like his mother, said, "Do what is right, even when it's hard." So he kept going. He stopped under a glowing street lamp to catch his breath, looked down at the wallet, and said softly, "I'm going to return it, even if no one ever knows." What he didn't realize was that someone was watching. The man in the Santa coat, the true owner of the wallet, followed slowly behind him, eyes filled with surprise and curiosity, because the boy wasn't just returning a wallet. He was about to change his whole family's Christmas. Before we finish this story, let me ask you one last question. If your child returned home with a stranger dressed as Santa, and that stranger was a billionaire, what would you think in that moment? Now let's end the story. The boy finally found the address written on the ID. A warm house with Christmas lights glowing softly on the porch. He climbed the steps slowly, his small fingers shaking as he raised his hand to knock. But before he touched the door, he heard a gentle voice behind him. "Looking for someone, young man?" The boy froze. He turned around, and there he was. The same man from the ID. The same Santa coat he saw from afar. The billionaire Santa himself. The boy's eyes widened in fear and surprise. "Yes, sir. I didn't steal it. I swear." The boy stammered, holding out the red wallet. "I found it, and I wanted to buy things for my mom. But she always says, 'Don't take what's not yours.'" His voice cracked. Cold air mixed with warm tears. "We have nothing. No Christmas tree. No chicken. Not even lights." But still, it didn't feel right. And at that moment, the billionaire Santa stepped closer, his voice soft. "Son, I saw everything." The boy looked up, shocked. "You had every reason to keep it, but you chose honesty." Santa placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "And because of that choice, I'm about to do something unforgettable." The boy broke down silently, exhausted, his small body finally releasing the weight he had been carrying. Santa smiled warmly. "Come on. Let's go to your home." And they drove through the snowy streets until they reached the boy's tiny apartment. When his mother opened the door, her face froze in disbelief. Her son, standing beside a man dressed as Santa, holding the red wallet. But before she could speak, the billionaire stepped forward. "Ma'am, your son returned something priceless. Now allow me to return something to you." He brought in food, warm, fresh, enough for weeks. A glowing Christmas tree, wrapped gifts for the children, and he quietly placed an envelope on the table. 1 full year of rent paid. The mother covered her mouth, tears falling freely. The boy hugged her tightly, and for the first time in a long time, their home felt warm. Because sometimes, Christmas miracles don't fall from the sky. They walk beside us, dressed as kindness. If this story touched your heart today, tell me in the comments. Would you have kept the wallet or returned it, even when life feels unfair? And remember, kindness always finds its way back.